All right, let's talk about something we all use every single day, passwords. They're the keys to our entire digital kingdom, right? But what if I told you that for most of us, those keys are, well, they're incredibly easy to copy?
Yeah, I know, that sounds pretty bold, doesn't it? But stick with me here, because we're about to put that statement to the test. Let's see just how vulnerable those passwords we think are so clever really are.
So let's start with the classic, the most common password of all time, the word password. If you use this, a hacker's software doesn't even break a sweat. The crack time isn't a few minutes, it's instant. I mean, that's basically leaving your front door wide open with the key taped to the doorknob.
Okay, so maybe you're a little savvier than that. You use a keyboard pattern, something like QWERTY, and you throw some numbers on the end, and you think that would be better, right? Nope. You've bought yourself less than a second. These hacking tools are literally built to check for these exact patterns first.
Now this one feels different. It feels personal. You've got capital letters, a special character, a couple of words mixed together. My dog at home. This feels unique. And you'd think, okay, this has got to be secure. But no. Modern cracking software can chew through that in about 3 minutes. What feels complex to us is just another simple, predictable pattern to a machine. So what's going on here? The evidence is pretty clear. We're not very good at this. But why? Is it just that we're lazy? Well, not exactly. The real reason goes much deeper, and it's actually wired right into our own brains.
It really comes down to this. Our brains are amazing pattern recognition machines, but they are absolutely terrible at creating true randomness. We're hardwired to take mental shortcuts, to save energy. That's why we use birthdays, our pet's name, or common words. And hackers? They know this inside and out. They're not trying to break super complex math problems. They're just exploiting us.
And here's exactly how they turn our bad habits against us. It's a technique called credential stuffing. It's brutally simple, but so effective. A hacker gets their hands on a huge list of emails and passwords from some old data breach. Then they use a bot to just try those exact same logins on every major site out there. Your bank, your email, you name it. If you've ever reused a password, you've just handed them the keys.
And to really get a sense of the scale here, let's just look back a bit. In 2009, a gaming website called RockU was hacked. 32 million passwords were exposed in plain text for anyone to see. And you know what the top passwords were? 123456 and password. This was a huge wake-up call, and it became a gold mine for hackers.
So did we all learn our lesson? Well, just a few years later, LinkedIn got hit, and this time, over 100 million user passwords. The problem wasn't just getting worse, it was getting bigger, faster, and adding millions more stolen credentials to those lists hackers use.
And all of this leads us to a really tricky problem. A paradox, really. The very thing that makes a password truly secure, its length, its randomness, its complexity, is the exact same thing that makes it completely impossible for a human brain to actually remember and use. I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got a password that a person would probably create. Tokyo 2025. It looks pretty good, but it's built on predictable things. A place, a year, an exclamation point at the end. But on the right, that's what a computer spits out. It's got what's called high entropy, which is just a fancy way of saying it's completely, utterly random. It's gibberish to us, and that gibberish is its superpower. So what are we supposed to do? If the only good passwords are the ones we can't possibly remember, how do we solve this thing? Well, thankfully, the solution isn't about having a better memory. It's about using better tools.
Okay, so here's part one of the solution, a password manager. Seriously, think of it like a digital vault or a safe. It does the hard work for you. It creates those crazy, long, random passwords for every single website, and it remembers all of them. Your only job? You just have to remember one single, strong password to unlock the whole vault.
But look, a password manager is just the first layer. Even the strongest, most random password in the world can still get stolen if a website gets breached. That's why a good lock on your front door is great, but what you really need is a deadbolt.
And that deadbolt, in the digital world, is multi-factor authentication, or MFA. Just using a password is like having one standard lock on your door. It can probably be picked. But when you add MFA, it's like installing a heavy-duty deadbolt on top of it. It's a whole other layer of defense. So what is it exactly? It's basically a second check to prove you're really you. It combines something you know, your password, with either something you have, like a temporary code sent to your phone, or something you are, like your fingerprint or your face.
So even if a hacker manages to steal your password, they're stopped cold because they don't have your phone or your fingerprint. Okay, so let's put this all together. Here's your digital defense kit, the stuff you can go do right now. First, get a password manager and let it create unique, strong passwords for everything. Second, turn on MFA everywhere you possibly can. I'm talking email, banking, social media, everything. And finally, go to a site like haveibeenpwned.com and see if your accounts have already been exposed, so you can go change those passwords right away.
And this, right here, is probably the most important thing to remember. Real digital security isn't about memorizing a string of random characters. It's about changing your behavior. Because hackers don't guess passwords, they predict people. By using these tools, you build strong habits that make you unpredictable. So at the end of the day, it's not about asking, how strong is my password? It's about asking, how strong are my habits?